Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic 24, the place where modern men come to sharpen their mind, strengthen their frame, and stop letting confusion run their relationships. But today's topic is one every self-aware, intelligent man needs to hear. These are 7 things grounded, high-value men should never do with women. Not to criticize, not to shame, but to shine a light on the subtle behaviors that erode your confidence, drain your energy, and quietly kill your chances before things even begin. You can be successful, emotionally intelligent, even deeply respectful, but if you're falling into these traps, it may be the exact reason you feel stuck, confused, or constantly in limbo with women. Let's get into it. Number 1, don't apologize for your standards. That you're not being noble when you lower your standards. You're just hoping that tolerance will buy you connection. But connection built on compromise of self is fragile. A stoic man doesn't lower his bar just because he's drawn to someone. Attraction is not a reason to abandon your clarity. Yet many men, especially those who think deeply and feel deeply, begin to soften their boundaries the moment affection enters the picture. They excuse mixed signals. They forgive silence. They call it patience when, deep down, it's fear of loss. You tell yourself she's just busy, just confused, just not ready, when what you're really doing is avoiding the discomfort of walking away from something that feels good but disrespects your core. That here's the truth. You don't teach someone how to treat you by explaining your worth. You teach them by how you enforce your boundaries. When you accept confusion, you invite more of it. When you allow inconsistency, you signal that your time is optional. A man who knows who he is doesn't need to defend his standards. He simply lives by them. And the right woman will never ask you to shrink to be accepted. So be calm. Be kind. But be clear. You don't need to raise your voice. You just need to raise your standard and watch who rises to meet it. Because the stoic response isn't to argue or prove. It's to observe, decide, and let silence speak for you. Number 2, don't mistake attention for investment. Modern dating has become a game of instant rewards, quick replies, half-hearted attention, and fleeting validation. It runs on dopamine, not depth. She might respond to your texts, laugh at your jokes, even hang out when it's convenient. But don't confuse that for real effort. There's a big difference between being available and being intentional. You've got to learn to see past the noise. Ask yourself, is she showing up consistently or only when she's bored? Is she initiating time with you or just replying when you reach out? Is she fully present when you're together or does it feel like she's already somewhere else? Most men don't want to admit the answer. They stay busy decoding mixed signals, convincing themselves that any attention is a sign of potential. But that's not clarity, that's denial. You chase breadcrumbs because a part of you is scared to face what her silence really means. You hope effort will buy you love, when in reality, love never needs to be bought. It shows up on its own. A stoic man doesn't beg for energy that isn't freely given. He doesn't try to force connection where none exists. He watches the pattern, not the excuse. Because he knows, effort reveals truth and silence reveals alignment. You don't argue with inconsistency. You don't try to fix distance with more closeness. You simply step back, reclaim your center, and let time do what words can't. When you stop chasing what's unclear, you create space for what's real. That's self-respect. That's discipline. That's stoic control. Number 3, don't water down your leadership to seem agreeable. Here's where many intelligent men quietly lose their edge. They confuse agreeableness with attraction. You tell yourself you're being easygoing. You say, whatever you want. Or, I'm good with anything, thinking you're showing flexibility. But in reality, you're removing yourself from the frame. You're handing over the wheel, then wondering why she doesn't feel magnetized by your presence. The truth is, women don't want to carry the burden of direction. It's not about being bossy, it's about creating structure. When you avoid decisions to avoid discomfort, you're not being kind, you're being passive. And passivity breeds doubt. A man who leads with clarity, even in small things, makes her feel safe, seen, and guided. It's not about controlling the night. It's about showing you have a vision. You don't need to bark commands or flex dominance. A simple, "Here's what I planned. Let me know if it works," does more for attraction than hours of texting or emotional analysis. Most men skip this shift because they're afraid. Afraid of seeming controlling. Afraid of rejection. Or, worse, so wrapped up in love they forget to lead. But the Stoic man doesn't flinch at decision. He understands that clarity is a form of respect. When in doubt, lead calmly, speak briefly, and let silence carry the rest. Because a man who doesn't hesitate in direction never has to beg for interest. Number 4, don't try to impress her. Connect with her that you've got the credentials, the job title, the fitness routine, the goals written down in perfect order. That's good. But here's the part no one tells you. If your presence feels like a resume, she'll scan through it, nod politely, and move on. Because attraction isn't a transaction, it's a reflection. If everything you do is designed to prove you're worthy, what she senses is a man still waiting for permission to feel valuable. That subtle neediness leaks out, not through what you say, but through how you say it. You speak faster. You overexplain. You highlight accomplishments that should speak for themselves. And while your words might sound confident, your energy feels like a pitch. The truth is, when a man knows who he is, he doesn't try to sell it. He simply lives it. He walks into a room, not demanding attention, but commanding it by the way. He carries his silence, his calm, his direction. You don't need to remind her you're disciplined. If you truly are, she'll see it in how you live, not how you talk. And the more you detach from trying to impress, the more you start to express, not what you've done, but who you are. Most men skip this because they confuse performance with presence. But remember, the Stoic man builds inward and lets the world notice on its own. You don't prove your worth. You become it. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Number 5, don't over-explain to fix perception. When you spend too much time living inside your own head, you start defending a version of yourself that's fragile and uncertain. You say something straightforward and honest, then immediately feel the urge to soften it. Wait, I didn't mean it like that. Or, just to be clear, I wasn't being rude. You think you're being kind, trying to avoid conflict or misunderstanding, but what she actually senses is hesitation, insecurity, and doubt about your own words. Most men don't realize this. They convince themselves that over-explaining is a way to show care or avoid hurting feelings. But in reality, it chips away at your presence and weakens your frame. A Stoic man understands that clarity isn't a weapon to be wielded perfectly. It's a foundation to stand on calmly. He doesn't rush to fix every impression or second-guess his voice. Instead, he lets his character unfold naturally over time, confident that truth needs no adornment. If she misinterprets what you say, that's not your burden to carry. The wrong woman will twist your clarity to suit her own doubts, but the right woman will see the intention behind your words. You own what you say. You stand firm. And in that steadiness, you maintain control. Silence becomes your ally, not a sign of weakness, but a testament to self-respect. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Speak when it matters, but never over-explain what your integrity already holds. Number 6, don't confuse chaos with chemistry. This is a big one, and yet it slips past most men who think they understand themselves. You find yourself drawn to her energy, the fire, the unpredictability, the rush of adrenaline that comes with every interaction. It feels alive, intense, and intoxicating. But here's the hard truth. What you call passion is often just volatility wearing a prettier mask. That emotional roller coaster is not a sign of connection. It's a test of endurance. Most men ignore the warning signs because they confuse chaos with chemistry or hope their presence will somehow steady the storm. But real compatibility isn't a battle you fight every day. It's a quiet calm you settle into without question. Ask yourself, honestly, can you be at peace with her, or are you addicted to the highs and numbing the lows? The woman who feels like fire might ignite your desire, but she rarely brings lasting warmth. The one who offers peace, steadiness, and clarity, that is the woman who lights your way forward. As a Stoic, you understand that the only control you truly have is over yourself. You do not command the tempest, nor should you sacrifice your own equilibrium to weather it. True strength lies in recognizing when to hold fast and when to let go, choosing silence over chaos and self-respect, over fleeting thrills. In the quiet moments, you find your power, and in that power, you find freedom. Number 7, don't abandon yourself to keep her. This is the quietest trap of them all, and yet it's the one that wears down a man from the inside without a sound. You start giving up your time, those hours meant for your own growth, your passions, your rest, just to avoid conflict, to keep the peace. Slowly, you compromise your vision, the future you once saw clearly, because it's easier to hope things will fix themselves than to face the hard truth. You stop voicing what unsettles you. You ignore the subtle shifts in her behavior, brushing aside your own instincts as if silence will hold the cracks together. But every time you silence your own needs, every time you swallow the discomfort, you chip away at your foundation, your sense of self. It isn't weakness to set boundaries, it's strength. The Stoic path demands this clarity. It says plainly, I will not betray myself, even for love. Because love that asks you to lose your center is not love, it's dependency. A man who remains grounded, who holds fast to his principles and refuses to fold when things fall apart, is the man who commands respect. Women notice that strength, even if they walk away. Control begins not with changing others, but with mastering yourself. When you choose silence over resentment, discipline over desperation, you reclaim your power. That quiet, steady self-respect becomes your fortress, and nothing can shake what stands firm within. Conclusion: these 7 shifts aren't about playing games, that they're about becoming the kind of man who doesn't lose himself in the chaos of modern dating. Let women feel your presence, not your pressure. Let your standards speak louder than your words. And remember, silence, clarity, and direction are louder than charmed. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. Let me know which of these hit hardest. And if you're ready to become stronger, sharper, and more grounded in your dating life, subscribe to Stoic 24 and hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment of clarity again.